Welcome everybody to another episode of the Crime Alley Cast. What episode number is this, everyone?
I think 23?
23? All right.
I was
22 or 23?
Let's call it.
Well, I will know right now. It's 23.
23.
23.
23. Episode number 23. It's been a little while, but it's a little while. But
What about a month?
Yeah,
It's like a month.
But I got my boy Costly here. Costly, what's up?
Nothing much. Just
Staying
enjoying
positive.
the game.
And then we got the world famous Mr. Zubaz. Zubaz, what's up?
Doing well.
Yeah.
Also loving the game. I'm rating right now. So if you see me looking down here and there, I'm trying to beef up our numbers here.
That's totally what I'm doing too when I look down. Just so everybody knows, I'm definitely not playing another game.
So today's
Wow.
today's Wednesday. So it's the day one of raids is going on right now. I'm gonna take a break. I rated a lot today, but we got some stuff to talk about. I don't know, like Costly sent over the outline for today, and I'm just thinking I'm gonna try to be as positive as I can. If you've been watching my streams at all lately, I haven't been the happiest camper with this game. And I don't know what all of you out there are if you're listening to what you are thinking about the game, but I know what I'm thinking. But let's see what we're thinking about. So, okay. State of the game is we're going to talk about this right now. And again,
very broad topic.
It's state of the game. So we do have some things we will talk about today. But man, let's start off with something I think we can all I don't know if we can all agree is positive, but I guess this is the most positive thing I'm going to talk about today is the anniversary month in review. Like, what did we think about the anniversary
month?
Most
positive thing that we have.
Exactly. So this is as positive as it's going to get for me. So, all right. Kasi, just give me your first thoughts on what you thought about how the devs and the game and WB handled the 5-year anniversary with this that was celebrated this last month.
So, in some ways, they did some really great stuff. In other ways, I think they crapped the bed. But I thought the 3 reworks was a good idea. Superman being rework was a good idea. Whether you like the Superman rework or not, that's besides the point. Just there being 3 reworks was a good idea. But
and we voted on those reworks.
Yeah, letting the community choose the reworks was a huge good part. Now, as far as the login thing, that's cool. I like that.
What was the login thing again?
They give the 8-day login
10
thing.
rebirth crystals?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was 1 week and then it did another one, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And you had to do the first one to get the second one, and it
wasn't. You had to do, from what I understood, it wasn't you had to do the first one to get the second one. You had to buy that pack on the last day. That was the free pack of Kryptonians to be able to get the second week worth of logins.
Oof.
Which was
there were people that did not do that.
Yeah. Even though it was a free pack, it's not everybody lives going into the store every day when they first start the game. You know what I mean? Some people just log in, get their stuff, and
so you think the people that didn't do it just didn't do it because they missed it?
They just didn't notice it. I mean, because who's not going to grab a free pack?
Right.
You know what I mean? So but that was cool. But at the same time, I'm disappointed. There was no anniversary event. There was no, I mean, I get that the anniversary event became the nightmare event, but they could have still done something.
Could have done something. Yeah.
They could have done or they could have just literally been the nightmare event this month is the anniversary event again, and you get more rebirth crystals.
They could have done it like they did the first time. With that would have been cool.
They could have done something like that. I know that it was a very hyped month, and a lot of people were expecting a lot of stuff that didn't happen, me included, and that's one of those things that's WB never straight out came out and said hey, this is coming. Mm-hmm. A lot of it was just community hype, and we can't do nothing but blame ourselves on that. You know what I mean?
But never blame myself. I'll tell you that right now.
I blame Costly. I definitely blame Costly.
But I will say it was a little sad that did I think Gear 12 was really coming? No, but it's
there's still hope.
It's just sad. It's sad that I was at least hoping for more chapters or something.
Still hope.
It's it was the perfect opportunity with them bringing in like the characters that could end the story of the Blackest Night and start us on something new, and they just completely missed the boat on that. But that's enough of me ranting on Zubaz. What did you think of the anniversary month?
I loved it. I thought it was wonderful. I loved the little hexagon graphic with the 5 in it that they put on everything. Was a nice celebration. I thought the Superman skin that they gave everybody was gold. It was gold. And it was unique to DC Legends. It is not, a lot of people thought and wanted it to be Superman 1 million. It wasn't. He doesn't have like the appropriate symbol on his chest. It's literally just a gold-plated Superman. And that's great that we have something that is like completely unique to this game.
I don't know.
What else?
There's never been gold skins on any characters in any game ever. It's just only DCL.
That is totally DCL 5th anniversary Superman. I thought that all the free stuff was pretty cool. Like, a lot of people wanted an event, and I get it. But I'll just take 10 free rebirth crystals. That's great. So that was fun. I do think I think that the community just definitely hyped it up a lot, and I think that was a mistake, because if you looked at where the game was at, like outside of the 5th anniversary, with the number of bugs that were coming in and like all of those kinds of things, like I think if you took a step back and realistically were like, what do they have like the manpower and capabilities and wherewithal to do right now, you would have realized like it's probably not going to be that much. So I was fine with it. I'm not going to say that it was like, some memorable celebration or something, but like I also generally don't go out of my way to celebrate the anniversary of video games. I don't know. So I was okay with it. I was fine. Like, I loved it.
For me, like this is the longest I've played a game, I would say, like especially a mobile game. And so I don't know how it is in the mobile world. I don't know what the shelf life is for most mobile games, because I know there's games I've played 10 years ago that are still there. I can still go download and play them, but they're not, there's no updates, there's no whatever. So with DC Legends, I don't know, like, is 5 years like a significant milestone in like a game like this?
Yes,
it is. Like, yes. So I would think, that a game that's still out there that has, I don't know how many players are playing this game currently. I think it's more than like 20,000 though, which could be a very small number. I have no idea. But I just think that like there should have been, like if you're going to do something, it would be the 5th year anniversary. Because last year for the 4th year anniversary, it seemed to, like, I think a lot of people that got so hyped up about the 5th year anniversary is because of what happened for the 4 year. We got that 4-time tap joy, and everyone was going bonkers about that and thinking we're going to get 5 times tap joy. I never thought we were going to get 5 times tap joy. I would have been surprised if we got the 4 again, but we got the 3. Hey, and you know what? They did a tap joy for the anniversary, which is fine. That's cool. Maybe going in the future, we know that maybe around the anniversary month, this is when tap joy, we get a lot of tap joys. But aside from that, like, yeah, they didn't do an event, and kind of like you, Zubaz, like, I'm fine with, the free rewards, like you want an event so you can get stuff. And well, we got stuff. And would I have liked an event? Sure. And kind of like what Costly said, it would have been cool if they just did the Nightmare event, like the old anniversary event, where they pump up the stuff. Well, they pump up the goodies in it, I guess, and that would have made it more fun. Or I don't know. Or even honestly, if they just did like the Nightmare event, and then like when the Nightmare event ended, like, surprise, there's another Nightmare event you can do, and this is the anniversary one, and special, here you go. It's just something to do. But Yeah, like, and then like Zubaz, like you said, like, but what can we really expect from this dev team right now when you take a step back and look at the game and realize like and I mean, we're in the state of the game right now. It's not good. The state of the game is not good right now. And,
Well,
you know,
and one of the things, if I can jump in here for a second, is I think, I mean, you guys, besides DCL, you guys don't play any other mobile games, right? Like, not at least not at the level you play DCL.
I play Marvel Puzzle Quest at a pretty high level.
I'm trying to look at my,
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at my phone right now. No, on my phone right now, I have Jelly Defense. I haven't played it in a little bit. It's a good game. I have Robotech. I showed it off on stream once, and I have Flappy Bird. I still have Flappy Bird.
I didn't even know that still existed. So
I have an 1,100-day streak in Duolingo.
That's a
which
very
I
impressive streak.
consider to be a game as well.
So as far as, because I don't have like a high-end account in Strike Force, but I have played Strike Force. I have what would be considered a in-game account in Raid Shadow Legends, and same thing in DCL. So it's like comparing all those games together. I don't know what Marvel Strike Force's anniversary events look like, but DCL's this year was pretty run-of-the-mill for a mobile game. Last year, I think it's a lot of people were taking and making their expectations this year out of last year, because last year was when we got new content during it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and I can tell you, Raid, that's not what Raid does. Raid doesn't bring out their new content like on their anniversary. They do bring out a lot of new content. They just don't do it during the anniversary event. And their anniversary event is normally a time they give everybody like the free version of the premium stuff in the game. They'll give everybody like a pack that has it in it, and then they'll sell really cheap packs.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's just a time to like really make a bunch of money. They'll sell a lot of cheap packs, but they'll sell enough of them where they make enough money still. And that's pretty much what DCL did with they gave us a lot of free stuff, which was nice, and they sold us stuff. But like just like what you guys are saying, if you back up and look at it, there's the other side of last month that we'll get to here in a little bit that's bleeding over into this month. That's just, it's like a snowball that's been going down a hill and just getting more and more snow packed into it, just getting bigger and bigger until it's finally, somebody's got to run out there and stop it, or else it's going to like destroy the town at the base of the hill. You know,
Snowballs are fun though. I love snowballs.
It has a rock in the middle of it.
Yeah. I would say that, and I was talking about this a little on stream today, that it felt like when new characters come out, like I don't know if it's just me, am I misremembering, or it wasn't a big deal, but it almost seemed like, I'm gonna say like maybe a year ago, when things were coming out, it didn't feel like when they came out with new toons, I wasn't expecting them to be bugged. Like I feel like that's like last year, it was like, oh, the new toons, and then it was like, oh, they're bugged. Like, whoa, they're bugged. You know, that's weird. You know, that's what it really seems like. And then you know, and then maybe skip a month, it was good. The next month, it was bugged again. And then now we're at the point in the game where we are 100% knowing that all the new toons will be bugged. Like, oh, new toons are coming. Let's see how they're bugged. And
like, I'm looking at a deal right now that's like all of this year's characters, and judging off of just, and this isn't me super thinking about it, just looking at characters and going, was that month bugged? It seems like July is the first time there was bugs.
No, you know what month that did it for me actually was February. The Harley, Enchantress, Bleeze, like the Harley situation was crazy at the time. That she was bugged when she came out, fixed her, but it was like a whole new set of bugs where she like stopped taunting entirely, and like then at the same time, Enchantress wasn't working right. Bleeze was bugged.
How was Bleeze?
I can't remember.
I don't remember Bleeze being bugged, so that's why like, I was looking at the new tunes. And the first one, and I didn't even know this bug existed until we got that bug list the other day, was Eradicator being bugged. The first time I remember there actually being bugs with the new champs was the next month after that, which would have been King Shark and Bloodsport. So that's still the past 5 months in a row, new characters just being bugged and reworks.
How? I mean, I know that month was bad with Spectre, but at the time, Stargirl wasn't particularly badly bugged, and King Shark wasn't. He has bugs, people don't care about them.
No, it wasn't like November, like detrimentally bugged. It was just that's the beginning of like the little snowball that became like the avalanche that was about to hit the town in November. You know what I mean? Like,
because I'm remembering what Zubaz says about Harley. I remember that, and that was to me like that was a big deal. Like, oh, it's Harley's bugged, and that was a big thing, and it seemed like a big. I'm looking at the next month for reworks and Miracle and Coda, and I don't think Miracle was bugged, and I don't think
Coda was though big time. Remember her turn meter wasn't applying.
Right.
Yeah, Coda was Coda was baby, but not Miracle. Miracle wasn't bugged. I don't
think so.
And then that month was also Darkseid and Superwoman, and I don't think either of them were bugged.
Wasn't Darkseid bugged for a little bit or something? Wasn't he doing something wrong?
I don't remember. And even if he did, I think it was very small, and they possibly fixed it right away, because like that month's not standing out to me. Dove and Hawk's not standing out to me. Blue Beetle was bugged, and they fixed him like the day.
Yeah,
I remember that. And then Barda and Bizarro wasn't bugged, I don't believe. King Shazam and Batman Who Laughs wasn't bugged.
No, Jericho was bugged. Jericho was bugged in the way that he was garbage.
Yeah, and then Blackfire, I don't know if she had any bugs. But then we had Terra and Starfire, they weren't bugged. So they were the reworks. And now we're jumping into Eradicator and Steel. And what month is that? Is that July?
July.
So Ultraman wasn't bugged. Zod wasn't bugged. Right? Yeah. And then Eradicator was bugged though, right?
There didn't
one bug that I don't know again.
It was like, I think it was like sometimes his remove all buffs move wouldn't remove all buffs. I've never had it not happen.
Right. Okay. So now let's look at King Shark. Did King Shark and Bloodsport have anything?
Bugs, right?
So King Shark has 2 bugs that they're just never gonna fix. But his two ignores awareness.
Okay.
Which is like awesome. And then his passive triggers on like disease instead of just bleeds.
Okay.
Which is like not that big a deal either.
So that's something where they fix the bug by just changing the wording or something.
Probably. And Bloodsport was also bugged. But they have fixed that since then. His 3 skill was triggering 100% of the time instead of 50% of the time.
And so that's what it seemed like. These toons would come out with some bugs that were minor, but then they would be able to fix them right away. But then
Stargirl wasn't.
Her
passive
the strength passive that we weren't really sure if it was a bug or just the wording, but we're now finding out that it was bugged. And then Spectre was bugged up the wazoo. And I think
Spectre.
Yeah, and Spectre
ruined everything.
Yeah,
he ruined the whole game.
Yeah, I've been saying it. And Spectre, and then that really, I think it was amplified with him because he was so overpowered, and his bug made him even more overpowered. And it almost felt like they didn't fix that bug until after the siege was over, right?
After siege.
That's when everything started going downhill after that, though, because like Spoiler came out with 2 bugs.
Okay.
She didn't stack awareness, maybe I could be wrong. Let's say at least 1 bug, and I think it still exists. I don't know if I've ever seen her give her team int-ups.
And then Jace.
Yeah.
I didn't use him.
He's a slow gear for me, so I have no idea.
Okay, then we
Riddler was bugged.
Riddler was bugged. Two-Face was not bugged. I'm trying to think. I don't think I had any issue.
Does he have a beneficial bug though? Does he?
No. The call assist thing, that is working as intended. Okay.
Is it? Okay.
But Batman CC
was bugged. Big time bugged.
But they fixed within like 2 days.
Right. And then we get into the Aquaman or Yara, Floor, and Nubia. So Nubia was bugged because of the enrage thing.
Yep.
And then Yara Floor was bugged because her 2 was counting as damage when it wasn't supposed to. And then we had Aquaman.
It was initially very bugged.
Very bugged. Very bugged.
His passive that he built his entire kit around wasn't working.
They broke the game when they came out, if you don't remember.
Oh, yeah. That's right. They did.
It's a meltdown.
Yeah. And then he still currently has a bug that's going on right now that was not addressed. And then Dr. Poison was, again, almost like exasperate. Like I feel like Same thing with Spectre. Something that's so OP, like, you can debate whether or not how good you think Dr. Poison is, but that move was extremely OP. And it was bugged in a way that made it even more so. Like, it was doing so much more damage than I think what they intended to. So that
it
was
also technically had like a normal bug, which is that the heal immunities weren't applying
there we
as
go.
well.
And the healing.
So that was the first month that was 4 for 4.
Yeah. And then we got into Kyle Rayner. Okay. Yeah. So that was okay. So that month was the first 4 for 4. But again, going into that month, we were now used to bugs showing up almost for everything. But they did a decent job of fixing them right away. Like, it almost seemed like, oh, they'll get it fixed before Siege. But then they stopped getting things fixed before Siege. And you just had to deal with it during Siege. And then, we had Kyle Rayner crazy bugged. The most bugged toon we've probably ever had. Necron, I believe, was bugged. Nightwing was bugged. Supergirl? Was Supergirl bugged?
Yeah. She was, yes.
What is
There's
she?
Something...
So was Superman. It was a 5
no,
for
wait.
5 on that
Supergirl is not technically bugged. It's just that the way that it's written, it basically, like, her passive is being treated as like an 80% thing, and it shouldn't be tied to that 80%. Like, the legendary should just be by itself. And that's the kind of thing that we used to be like, oh, maybe that's a bug, maybe that's not a bug. But now when we look at it, we're like, okay, that's a bug. Like, you need to fix that too. So I could go either way on that.
All right, we'll go either way. So I'm gonna say she was probably bugged. And then we have Superman, who was a big bug.
He was stunning through immunity.
And the devs cost me the TOL, but I'm not going to get into that. But so Superman was bugged. and then now we're into Tula and Garth and Zubaz early reports.
Both bugged.
Both bugged.
They're both bugged, and Aqualad is not bugged as far as I can tell.
Thought he was. I think he may, but again, we talked about this. I think we talked right before we went on stream on the podcast here. But I was doing some tests with Aqualad on stream, and from my knowledge and what everyone else in chat was kind of agreeing with me at what the situation we talked about it, he did seem bugged. But then later that night, when you at M4 looked over things, he was no longer bugged. But we only got Aqua last month because they're supposed to do a big bug fix. And what do we think about that?
Yeah, well, in the face of all of that, they wanted to do like this bug fix month. So I think it's a good idea because there are so many bugs in the game to where it's like, I didn't realize how many bugs there were in the game until who was it that put together that deal on Reddit the other day and just had all the bugs listed, and it was like, holy crap! Because there was the stuff from the new characters, but there's like stuff from characters that have been going back months that have been wrong with characters.
Years.
And,
years. Yeah.
And so it's like, and I'll put it this way. And I remember like years ago, I brought up, comparing, because I used to play Rainbow Six Siege a lot, and I compared like DCL to that, and I got told a lot. That's a AAA game with a huge team behind it. You can't compare it. But one of the things that Rainbow Six Siege did, like a couple months after their release, was they had a huge spike of players, and then the more they were releasing new characters like every 3 months into their game, and their game started getting so bugged that people were leaving the game. So they did a month called Operation, or they did a season, because they would do seasons like all these games do now. They did a season called Operation Health, and it was almost 2 seasons long, where all they didn't bring out any new characters. They just worked on the game. And it is the thing that saved Rainbow Six Siege and got it to where it is now.
Okay.
And I've always wanted, once we got really bad with these bugs, for DCL to do something like that. And I get, like, this game, this is one of those things where it's like, everybody kind of like throws their own, like, what they think of the state of the game is, as far as like, can DCL survive, a month without new toons, right? Like, would the game go under just because they don't have any revenue from that month for new toons? Nobody really knows. We were all just assuming when we say it, you know what I mean? Like, and so I would love to see them, like, if they were able to do it, just take the time and fix the game. Mm-hmm. Like, this is the first time in a long time where it's like, Josh started off the podcast saying, hey, if you guys have noticed how I feel about the game from my streams, I can say the same thing, because you guys should have noticed I haven't been streaming because I could barely, like, I was getting so frustrated with the game Like, Nightwing was the character that I wanted reworked for a long time. I finally got him reworked. I took him up to Rebirth 4, and I got so sick of not being able to run the teams I wanted to run that I had been thinking since I saw the kit. My mind just went into overdrive, putting together all these teams I could with all my invisibility characters, and starting with invisibility and what that would do for this character and that character. And then he was just bugged for the entire month.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it was week after week waiting for that fix and being like, cool. And then finally, by the time like Siege ended, and I never got that fix, I didn't get to play with the character, and I just got so fed up to where it's like I literally logged in every day and like I did basic thing you could do on the game and then left.
Yeah, and it felt like
day.
it was more amplified for you as well because you were very much looking forward to Nightwing, and then he was like so heavily bugged. But when I looked, and then even on stream today, I looked at the list of bugs they looked, because I think I was always saying that I think the game, what they needed to do was give us a roadmap of what they plan on doing. I still think roadmaps are great. I think every game should always do a roadmap for what's to come, 3, 6, 9, 12 months, whatever, how far they want to do it. They should give you just something of a roadmap where they're looking to take the game. But I was hoping they'd do that for the bugs, and they didn't. But we did get a list of the bugs that they quote unquote fixed. And I was looking at this, and again, like you said, Costly, there is a lot of bugs that go back, a long time. There's more than you think. And on this list of bugs, they had 28 of them. They have 28 bugs on this list. 14 of them are from toons in the last less than 2 months.
2 months? Yeah,
less than 2 months. So that's already so to me, that's like when they announce they're doing this big bug month, it's like, oh wow, the game, it almost like they care. They're really gonna, get into there and fix the game with all this stuff going on. But really, they're only fixing things that they broke not that long ago. This is like new stuff. And so to me, this almost seems like all those old bugs that they have, I think that's it. They're done, And so
keep in mind that we just talked for like 2 minutes about how it didn't seem like it was a serious problem until the last couple months.
Right. But this is, we're having 2 months, but there are bugs in the game that are still very old. Like,
sure.
There's so I thought there were going to be a lot of big things that were like old things that need to fix. So again, of the 28, 14 are from the last 2 months. And of this 28, 2 of them were things that were already fixed. They didn't do anything about this when they announced this. These were already fixed. And then we have, and to me, my personal opinion, and this is just my opinion, I think they did some things that didn't need to be fixed. Like Batman the Dark Knight now uses his second move while on auto. I think that's a waste of time. That was a waste of time. Who cares about that bug? There's obviously bigger fish to fry. And then if you look at this, there's also a bunch of stuff on here that, sure, they fixed it, but boom, they created new bugs. Like Spectre, they didn't fix them. They made them worse. Stargirl, they fixed her strength dust, but now she doesn't do a double on her basic. And then I was asking this question on stream. So what did they really do? Obviously they fixed some bugs, which is great. But how do you feel about what they've done? Like, do you think this was a success? Is I guess we can get to.
Okay, I'll go first. So here's where I'm at, which it's multifaceted. I think one, I kind of want to have Spectre in like a separate box because Spectre, I think, is a very oppressive character, but he's intended to be a very oppressive character.
Yeah.
His kit is outrageous, and so his bugs, when they become problematic, do become a little bit like game breaking situation. But outside of Spectre, what we had last month, especially during Siege, was like a very, very just unplayer friendly Siege between Nightwing and just how kind of difficult his kit was to deal with, and Kyle Rayner, who, with the endless unpurgeable death immunity, that type of situation. And those to me are game breaking bugs. And I do think that those should have been addressed immediately,
right,
instead of letting them kind of go on for 4 months or for 4 weeks. But that being said, those bugs within this patch appear to have been fixed.
Right.
And where I'm going with that is outside of Spectre, who is this OP toon who can now again stun or do stuff while he's stunned and everything. I don't think that there are any game-breaking bugs in the game right now. There is nothing that if I run through a list, if I do 10 PvP matches in a row, there's nothing that like I won't be able to complete, or just the entire match is going to be ruined because of one particular bug. And that is the status quo that the game has been in for 5 years. The game has never, since day one, been entirely bug-free.
Right.
But I think we are assigning like extra negativity and extra value because of how bad the bugs have been recently and because of how slow they were to address some of them. So I don't know that I would call this list necessarily a success. I do think that it was very beneficial. I'll go in kind of two directions. One, I don't think that it was enough to merit having less content this month. Like this seemed like stuff that I don't know that was particularly difficult to do, such that like I don't understand why we didn't get a second rework this month. But that being said, I actually do think it was very successful in like they did fix a lot of things. I think the main issue is actually the presentation.
Yeah.
Which is you purposely, they very obviously beefed up a list that they were just trying to make it look longer, right?
Yes.
There was 28 things and maybe half of them probably didn't really matter all that much. I think that that's part of it. Even just the order of it. Like if you're going to be like, okay, here is a giant list of things that we fixed and your number one is the Dark Knight thing on auto. Like you don't lead with that. Lead with your star thing. We just fixed Kyle. We just fixed Yara. We just fixed Nubia. Like all the toons that have created havoc in Siege for the last 2 months, lead with that. But they did. The other thing was they, in addition to just the presentation being poorly done, I would say there was also errors in the presentation. So Aquaman and World's Greatest Detective, like what they needed to say very, very clearly and explicitly was, we made these things features instead of bugs. These were beneficial things that we decided to write into the kit because the community wanted that. That would be so cool to see. We'd be like, hey, we got to win, right? Like my Aquaman now gives mends to the whole team at the start of battle. That's awesome. World's Greatest Detective, you don't have to worry about whether or not he's going to give himself terminate, whatever the case may be. Instead, like the World's Greatest Detective thing, they reported it the inverse. They were like, World's Greatest Detective no longer will be able to do this. And people got upset about it until we tested it and realized, no, they just made it a feature. I think a list of those things would have been really cool.
Yep.
I think a list of all the fixes that they made would have been really cool. And what I think we actually do have is probably like 15 solid bug fixes and maybe 3 or 4, hey, we made these features. That's a pretty good list to me.
Yeah, and I
don't know if it's worth sacrificing a rework, but I think it's a good list.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like they fluffed this up into be like, look what we're doing, guys. We're gonna not give you a rework. We're really taking this seriously. We're gonna step back and we're gonna fix the game. We're gonna really go and then. But that's why I'm like, well, what did they really do? They just really fixed the bugs that just came out, and then some things they fixed weren't that big of a deal, and then but like you said, they just present it well. Costly, what do you think?
I'm hoping there's more. Like I like what they did. I'm just hoping in order for it to make sense to cost a rework, there needs to be more, in my opinion. But also, I think they should also take their wins where they can get them, like what Zubaz was saying with like turning some of the beneficial bugs into features. One of the other ones that like I didn't hear you mention, but like Mr. Freeze now gives true sight to the entire team. That's something he used to do pre-rework. And then when they reworked him, they actually removed it, but it didn't get removed out of the code. And people enjoyed that so much because it's great but it would only happen sometimes. And so they basically just made it to where he does it all the time now, and it's great. And as somebody who literally took Mr. Freeze Rebirth 5 the day before they did that, I was super happy.
Okay.
But it's like, take your wins where you can get them, but at the same time, it's like, and Zubaz had a good point. There was so many of those that were recent characters, and that's probably why it felt so bad, right? Like, and at the same time too, you make a point of the past 2 months of Siege have been wrecked by, like, last month was straight up game breaking, whereas the month before was like you could work around it, but it was still pretty game breaking.
Just wait,
right?
just to be clear, like the last Siege was so awful and so terrible and so broken that I don't think anyone that won that thing should get any sort of like notoriety, or they should be celebrated at all. Like I
agree.
Okay,
I agree.
yeah, as long as we're all in agreement with that.
I'm no comment. So
I don't even remember who won. Was there a winner? I don't think there was a winner.
I don't remember.
Yeah, but it's like what that felt like, and probably why like me and Josh had like the reaction we do towards this past month, and it literally felt like somebody like their car broke down in your driveway, blocking your driveway, and then they just left it there all month, and then like they came and got it and then broke down their other car in your driveway the very next month and left it there all month. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, but you saw them every day. Like they walked by and just said, "Oh yeah, I'll get to it." And it's like
that was the thing that kind of bugged me about these bugs, because again, like when we went through everything, it almost seemed like something would happen, they fix it, maybe a week into Siege, 2 weeks into Siege or something. And then it just, with Kyle and this last month, it really just felt like, because they announced they're gonna do this big bug thing, they just said, "Hey, we're doing a bug thing. We'll hands free from it. We'll get to it when we get to it. You guys just deal with it." And that to me was like really annoying. Like it just they really felt like you said they just left it there and then deal with it. And then now here's the fix. But I guess because we're Siege players, I feel like I'm a Siege player. Like, I'm not going to use Kyle right now. Like, I don't really care. Like, I have my day. There's so many toons I already use that are my go-tos. But like Kyle, like, okay, you fix them, great. But that's not going to help me,
Part of my excitement I had when I heard about like them doing a fix month was like, I was expecting more along the lines of like what I had experienced with Rainbow Six Siege and like that Operation Health thing and everything. And it's like, wasn't expecting the exact same thing, right? But it's just like, I expected them to sit down and fix a majority of the bugs, but not just the bugs to the characters, but like what happens to raids at the end of every raid, like what happens over here, what's going on, like why does the game do this sometimes when it does this, like what's wrong over here, like work on the game. And it would have felt good coming off the back of like the anniversary month, because it's like, hey, here's the anniversary month. And that's part of what sucked about the anniversary month, was like there was a lot of really good things in the anniversary month, but it had this dark shadow of how bugged that month was. You know what I mean? And so it's like, coming off the anniversary month, like if you're doing this fixed month, then it's like, we're going to fix things that have been affecting people, because it's like there's still people get locked out of raids every single month.
Yeah.
And there are people that can't leave their alliances and stuff like this. And it's like, what is all this? Like, fix some of this, And that's kind of like where, and it's like, does all that stuff need to be fixed for the game to continue? No, but I also don't want to be like stumbling along for the rest of my life in this game. You know what I mean? Like
I think for me, my big thing was this whole show of, we're going to give you less content now. And the trade-off for less content was, we're going to fix a lot of bugs. And then I think the response was, deal WB, we'll take less content, you fix a bunch of bugs. And now here are the bugs they fix. Did we lose the deal? I'm
hoping there's more. Like
there could be more.
Really
maybe like, I think Zubaz, you mentioned earlier that they're potentially patching things like hour by hour. Like, things could be changing as we go on. And I would be very, very happy if, 3-4 days from now we get another update that says, here's some more bugs that are fixed. And then it's like, okay, maybe the month's not over. Like, they're saying they're doing it all December, so maybe, I don't know.
Let me add one more thing to just about last month. I think one of the issues with last month that added to people's dissatisfaction Me, I didn't care. But those were, as far as I could tell, two very desired characters, right? You've got the big bad of the game finally becoming a playable character. It's like when you could finally play with M. Bison in Street Fighter 2, you know, like that kind of situation. And then you've got White Lantern Kyle Rayner, which I don't know if anybody actually wanted him. You know, we could try to invite somebody on the podcast who could talk about him or something, but who cares really? I don't know. But you know, I think that there are people that wanted those characters. And here's the problem though, is let's say they weren't bugged to high heaven, which they both were at varying levels. Kyle, like you said, perhaps the most bugged new release we've ever had. Necron has his issues. Even if they were working 100% perfectly, those were very underwhelming kits.
Yeah, and that added to it.
You know, I think that added to it a lot. It was like this, you know, if this was something that was going to be like a game breaking or like super awesome situation that was deprived of us, fine. But like, it was like, okay, well, we're going to fix all these bugs and then nobody's going to use Kyle anyway because he's kind of lame. You know, I think that all just kind of added to sort of the pall that was over the month. And then, you know, and then we rolled into this next month with, you know, I'm personally excited, but I know that not everybody is into this month either. So it very much seemed like they had kind of checked out a little bit in like end of September. And, you know, after Batman Day event, that was kind of the last thing that they did for the year. And then it's just kind of been coasting. But, you know, I think it's just different, right? And here there's 168 or 170 characters now. And there are bugs that people know about and care about that are not within 1,000 miles of my radar.
Right.
There are toons that I have never geared, that I will never gear, and I just don't know or care about them. And so there's like, oh, like, you know, I don't know if Bane is bugged, but somebody's saying like, oh, Bane is bugged, and I'm like, I don't care. Like, is that what WB should be fixing, or should they be fixing like these new toons that they've been spending a lot of time promoting and hyping over the last several months, who are about to have PvP weeks and who are about to go on sale for the last chance sale that they've been doing the last couple of months, which is really cool.
It's a great idea too.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's like, I think that that's where the focus is, and I'm personally okay with that. Like, I think those other old bugs, they get fixed when the toon gets a rework. That's, you know, and eventually everybody will get reworked. I don't know.
I also think for me, another thing that kind of like put a sour taste in my mouth over the 5-year anniversary and that whole month and everything was, I had a conversation like 6-7 months ago with, I believe it was with the boy, and we're talking about, man, what if Necron came into the game? And I remember saying, man, if Necron comes to the game, the only way they can justify bringing Necron in the game is if they're coming out with new chapters and we get a new big bad. And then this month we got, you know, the new Trigon. And then Trigon is a big bad worth, you know, doing something. And then we got, you know, Necron's playable. And now we're like, 5 years, you know, what's coming. And then the month's come and gone. We didn't get anything. I still think there's hope for, you know, more chapters. Because I said one of the other options that they could do is if they didn't do it in the anniversary month, which would have been a perfect time, I think. But if they don't, you know, new year comes around, 2022, maybe start the year off with some new stuff, maybe new chapters, Trigon's a new storyline, and then, you know, cross my fingers, you know, we get G12. Because the last time, I believe when they dropped G11, I don't even think the VIP group knew about it. I think it was a surprise.
The VIP group was even around yet.
Was it? I thought they've been around for...
Gear 11's been around for quite a while.
It felt like they dropped the G11 on everyone and was like, boom, guess what? G11's here. And it was a shock to everyone. You woke up that morning and G11 is there. So, I mean, they don't necessarily need to do a big event to like roll out G12 or anything, or they technically don't even need a big event to roll out new chapters. Like we could just wake up one morning and one day and then just be, boom, new chapters are here. Update, you know, Trigon's the boss. Here's the storyline. Go have fun. And so... Yeah. I think all these factors put together, really, it just, man, it was a month. It was a month, and I would say, like me personally, I have a bad taste in my mouth of this month and with the game. So, you know,
I guess
love
the important thing to say here though is like, because like I feel like to an extent, you know, like me and Josh are kind of like on a different side of it from Zubaz with this is,
well,
but like
Zubaz is a Reddit mod now, so I think
all of us
Zubaz.
love the game. All
Don't
of us love
remind
the
me.
game though. And like that's where a lot of like where like me and Josh's frustration comes from is because we care about the game so much.
Yeah, Zubaz, I
And,
care
like-
about the game, okay?
I see. That's the difference. Is you care about it so much, and you want it to become like its best self. And I love it so much that I love it for all its flaws.
I can see what it can become, and it disappoints me. You know.
Yeah, you are like the overbearing parent, whereas I am like I've got the ugly kid, and I'm just like, no, come here, you're beautiful to me. You know, like
that part of it too with me is like I play another game, and so that like is arguably
you have a whole second family, which
Yeah.
is horrible to do to your
Yeah.
children too. And
it's arguably you know, one of the best mobile games out there that I play on the other hand. So
okay,
yeah.
I've seen the ads. I'm not impressed.
I mean, so it's
let's move on from this topic. Let's
Well,
forget about this.
let's transform this topic into something better.
Hopeful, maybe December.
Yes.
December.
What do you guys think? Yeah, I have a question to pose to you guys. We'll do that as the last thing though.
Okay, so you have a question that you're going to ask us. Okay. All right.
okay.
But let's look at December. Now, like Zubaz says, he's very excited about this month because Zubaz is a big Atlantean fan. Like, I'm excited about this month too. I think, you know, I've one thing I will say that this game, I think the thing that this game is doing best, the absolute best thing about this game is the art for these characters. Like Tula looks amazing. I think Garth looks amazing. Like I really think they look really cool. And that gets me excited. Like I guess I'm a visual person. I see really cool characters and they're looking cool. I'm like, man, this is gonna be good. And so I'm excited for I like these characters. I'm excited to see them. You know, we're getting Aqualad reworked, only one, and that's fine and dandy. So I'm liking this month so far, you know. I'm just nervous that they are bugged, and I'm hoping we don't get this, you know, see you next month when those bugs are fixed. I'm hoping they try to be proactive and fix them now. I don't think it's going to happen because it's December. You know, we're not going to get raids this month, technically, and things are going to start slowing down for them. So, I mean, I think the bugs that we're getting are the bugs we're going to get. But I think this is cool. I like these two characters. I think they're going to be fun. I'm reading Tula's kit. I kind of saw all those intelligence up she's gonna get, man. That move is gonna drop bombs. And Zubaz, what do you think about her?
So I'm kind of loving life right now. This is one of those months where like you get a lot of people are like, who wanted these tunes? And it's me. Like I have been asking for these tunes. I had mentioned this in 1500 chat, but this was the first month that we've ever had that because if you don't know, I think most people do know at this point, but I do collect comics. And I try to get first appearances and stuff, like key issues of characters that I really love and everything. This is the first month we've ever had where both of the new tunes and the rework, I have their first appearances. So like I've got first appearance of Aqualad back from 1960. I've got Tula's first appearance. They're all sitting behind me. I kind of brought them out just to show off the other day. I mean, I'm super excited. As far as the art goes, I think the art is great. They nailed the actual costumes of these characters.
Yeah.
People were very confused about like Tula. They're like, and it's just because they don't know who she is. But like this is, you got my pixelated screen here, but like that's literally Tula's costume. Like they gave her the exact costume that she's had on covers since the 90s. And really since she's had since the 60s, but she's a character at that time. I have them both at L1 right now. Tula, first of all, she slaps. She is very, very strong. She has a very, very good and cohesive kit, I think. I think it works well with the other Atlanteans, Mera and Aquaman specifically, which is great.
Which these themed characters should do. I like that they do that. Yeah, that's good.
Absolutely. Her bug right now is a beneficial one. I don't know if they'll fix it. If they do fix it, it's because she could be slightly overpowered, but like she's not game breaking in any way. But right now she's got her passive where she gains 5 intelligence ups anytime somebody receives men's, or 75% of the time whenever somebody receives men's. She's receiving those anytime anybody is healed right now. So if men start healing somebody, like just ticking down on their turn, she gets them. Or like if you use Aqua Lad Jackson Hyde, if you use him to heal somebody, like the first move of the battle, that triggers her move, and that doesn't involve men's at all. So that's definitely a bug. But otherwise, I mean, she is a toon that, because I've shared some videos and people have been like, oh, that AoE, it really seems like a Dr. Poison type AoE, and it's different because it doesn't require difficult setup. You got Dr. Poison, an S tier toon that requires no setup on her AoE, right?
Yeah.
It just kills everybody, no setup. Tula's AoE requires a little bit of setup, but it's not difficult setup if you just build the team properly.
Right.
So if she's under Aquaman or with Mera or somebody, a Barda, somebody else that mends, she's off to the races, which is great. So I think she is going to be excellent, excellent, excellent. I love both her basic and her legendary skin. I'm really glad that they added her to the game. My list of Atlanteans is now down to like 1 that they would still add. And so that's great. Garth Tempest is kind of another story. He is the one that I have been hoping for a very long time. He's an OG Titan. I was always shocked that he was never in the game. He's one of the longest standing sidekicks that there's been. And they brought him into the game, and his kit, I think, is just a mess, unfortunately. And not in like a bugged way. I think like if it was working exactly as they wrote it, it's just all over the place. I have kind of like a design theory about this game that I think the best kits are narrowed down to maybe about 3 to 4 buffs or debuffs. Like they kind of build on each other. You open your own gates. Whether it's like, okay, this is toons fill niches, right? This is a strength down toon. This is a whatever toon. He has 11 different buffs, debuffs, and effects in his kit. It's way too many. He's jack of all trades, master of none, and not a master of one in a good way.
Right.
So that's problematic. His basic hits very hard, is very good. His third skill is bugged in a way that we have not yet encountered. And I was talking about this a little bit on Reddit today, and it's a design flaw that they just screwed up, and I hope that they fixed, or that they will fix. But his move at the basic level, at the base level, starts at a 50% chance to apply 5 strength downs, 5 intelligence downs, and silence. That's a really great move. Yeah. That's 11 debuffs that can really neuter somebody's offense. And at the max level, based on Reeves' post, based on what we've seen, it's supposed to just end at 100%.
Okay, right.
And you go into his rings, and he's got these modifiers of 15%, 15%, 10%. It's exactly enough to go from 50 to 100. Except they're damage.
Right.
They're not a chance increase. And it's just an obvious like mistake that they made. It's not supposed to increase in damage. It's supposed to increase. Or if they did want to, they can do both, but they have to rewrite it like that. So right now, I have him fully ringed, and he's only doing the debuffs on that move 50% of the time. So if the debuffs are only working half the time and the damage on that move is not very good, it's a pretty bad move. Right. His passives are even more problematic, which is everybody was really excited. They thought they might be game breaking because they seemed very oppressive if he was going to be doing them every turn, like every ally and enemy turn, like the kit reads. And instead he's only doing them on his turn, which is that's a huge nerf. cut his effectiveness from the entire battle to 12.5% of the battle. Right. So I don't know, even if it was working, everything is intended. I think he's not going to be that great a toon, and it's a little disappointing. I think he's a toon that in 16 months, if the game, and let's be real, the game is probably still going to be kicking because it's like a cockroach that can never die. I think he'll be in line for a great rework, but he's not there right now. But hey, I'm super excited. I'm going to play a bunch of PvP this month to get Ocean Master shards. I'm going to do Black Manta's showdowns to get his shards. I mean, this is for like an Atlantis fan, which there are a bunch of us. Shout out to Trench and Merpire and like all the other Atlantis fans out there. This is like what we wait for every 2 years. They throw us that little bone, and then we go back into our underwater cave and hide for 2 years. So I'm pumped for December.
I wanted to quickly say about Aqualad. I've been playing with Aqualad. I've been using him, and someone even asked me today, so is Aquaman worth gearing up now? Is he worth it? And I will say I felt like I did Aqualad a little bit dirty when he came out because I really slammed on him that Siege month. But if someone watches my Siege regularly, if they only watched me during that Siege month, they would think Aqualad was a terrible character. But I did say during that Siege near the end, I was like, look, this was a bad Siege for Aqualad because I believe all the characters that were around him were like intelligence buffing, intelligence things, and he was a strength-based character. So it was hard for him to shine in that Siege particularly. But I said after, I was like, hey, he actually hits pretty hard. You give him some strength buffs, and man, he can do some work. He's not terrible. And I think this rework of him has made him, I really like him. I like what he does. I've been playing him, and it feels like every time I play him in a match, I think, thank you, Aqualad, for doing that. Like, ooh, Aqualad really helped me there, Like, he does the things he does, you don't count on it, but man, when it happens, you're like, oh man, thank you, Aqualad. That's huge. You prevented me from dying, You gave me the heals. You brought a character back from the brink. You're able to heal often, and it's nice. And oh man, you turn those, put some strength downs on them. You put some bleeds on them, and then you can wipe out a whole entire intelligence stack. Like, he's useful. Like, I feel like he's a very useful toon, kind of like a little, utility knife that works really well. And so I am excited to see along, even though I don't have Tula and Garth yet. I've been using Aqualad. I'm excited for him. I think Aqualad's solid, It's a good toon.
I think he's a good toon. He suffers from one problem for me, which is his basic is so very strange. I don't know why they did it the way they did, where he applies more strength downs based on how many intelligence ups that they have. Mm-hmm. I've tried to reason it out a little bit. It's, one of the things is like on a Lex team, for instance, Lex dishes out intelligence ups to characters that might not benefit from them, and he can now apply strength down. So that's nice. But in general, it's very strange. It's like you've got Spectre with a whole stack of strength down or intelligence ups, and you just load him with strength downs that don't do anything to him.
Well, you don't necessarily have to. I wouldn't necessarily attack Spectre with Aqualad. It's just, I feel like a lot of players, when you fight teams, there's a mix of special damage and strength damage, and it is nice that you can put him in there, and because that enemy team has intelligence ups, he could immediately neuter a strength-based character. So boom, one toon is like the strength, they're out, and boom, you're happy. And then on his next move, he can then take out an intelligence that's special. Like boom, they're cut out too. So I really like that he does it. And now again, he's not gonna win you the battle. He's not gonna like be game shit. But man, those little things are nice. Like I think what I really, really like about this kit, and I've been like complaining about it for so long about how they've been designing Spectre and how they did Nightwing, but he was bugged, that it just seemed like they weren't. It was just, they threw everything on these characters. They're not really thinking about the gameplay of the game. But with Aqualad, I just feel like this kit is so interesting, so neat, so useful. But it's like, I love it. And so I'm a huge fan of Aqualad right now.
Yeah. I'm where I was going with that though is like the basic, it's confusing, right? Mm-hmm. And it's almost the same problem that like the Reeves bug report had. That's at the top. If you keep reading, his kit is really good, right? Like, he's got a chance at a 34% true heal on his 2 skill that can reset every turn.
And it happens often.
Happens often. His 10 bleeds on a single character with his 3, that's the most that you can do in the game with anybody now. They have a chance to become permanent, and 10 bleeds like that. Okay, people are like, oh, bleeds, whatever.
It's 20%.
Okay, if there's Terra, it's that's 30% true damage.
Yeah, exactly. 30%. That's a lot of damage.
Crazy. Like, I have seen that just completely kill Spectre. Just absolutely, like, it eats through his awareness and then it just wipes him out and he can never recover from it, especially because you've got the passive making them permanent. So it's like, I think that there are a lot of really, really good things in his kit, but people, they're still a little gun shy. I had one person in a different chat today. I won't mention the name of that alliance that allegedly is the best alliance in the game, but they had one member who was just like, well, why would I ever use his heal? It's so small. And I was like, are you thinking of the Aquaman from like a week ago? He's got a 34% true heal now. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about like, oh, is it going to be a little one or a big one? You know exactly what it is. It's a third of a health bar. Yeah. Like that's what true heal is. So he's a really good toon. I don't think he's game breaking. I don't think he's going to crack the meta or something, but he's somebody that you can reach into and say like, I've got a Spectre issue right now. I've got a Starfire issue. I've got something like that. And you can bring him and be like, he's Darkseid, wiping out a stack of Darkseid intelligence ups. Darkseid is nothing anymore. So I think he's fun. I think he's going to be really fun. He works extremely well with the other toons too. He works very, very well with Garth because he's applying strength downs, and Garth has a skill that applies intelligence downs per strength down on the enemy. So they together, it works out really well.
And I was running him with Stargirl too.
Yeah.
And oh man, it was just shutting down. I had a team. It was Azrael, Wonder Girl, and Arcus, and boom, those two together, like it's so nice, and it's just so neat to think. Again, you don't need these game-breaking characters all the time. You just need these characters that when you encounter that team that's tough, you can go to him and he's gonna do well. Costly, what do you think? Come on, Costly, tell us your thoughts about all this.
I mean, hearing Zubaz talk about his kit was the first time I've heard anything about his kit. Because I just literally hadn't done anything. It's not that I don't like the character or anything. For me, actually, like in DC, it goes like Bat Family, Wonder Woman characters, and then Aqua characters. So it's like I have enough to
all of DC.
Yeah. No, there's more after that. Then it's Green Lantern, and Flash, and stuff like that. But so it's like I even have I can rebirth 5 Siren right now if I wanted to. I can go up pretty decent high rebirths on Aquaman and Mara. But a lot of my fandom for them comes from New 52 Rebirth. So it's like I don't know Garth and Tula that well, right? Because they weren't all over the place in those comics. They read them a little bit, but not at the extent like Zubaz has read them. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so for me, it's like this is an exciting month because I like that we're getting newer characters besides another Superman or something. But I haven't really touched Aqualad yet. I literally put his legendary points in 3 hours ago. But his kit sounds good, and oh my gosh, and so he looks like he's exactly the kind of character that I'd like for them to add, because they need to stop doing things like Spectre and do things like Aqualad, where it's like the game needs to become, okay, you have this, so I need to bring this kind of a team, and you can make multiple characters attack the same problem in different ways that provide nuance on what you bring to your table, rather than just have a guy that literally goes, did somebody die? Okay, everybody on the board died.
Yeah.
It's, or having somebody that can go, okay, so I know that you just spent the past 14 turns turning down my entire team and you got all these buffs, but here I'm gonna wipe all of them off because I'm Spectre. You know what I mean? And so that's the annoying part with Spectre, and I hope they don't. I hope they stray away from that going into the next year, which was actually my question I was going to have for you guys.
Okay.
because it was coming off of the back of the bugs. And I'm sure we'll revisit this question more in depth in the Toonies at the end of the year. But real quick, what do you guys want from the game going forward for the new year? Of like their approach to characters, content, and like bugs, I guess. You know, what are you guys looking forward to? Like
looking forward to, or what do we want to have
What do
happen?
you want? What do you want?
Okay. For me, I'll jump on this. Like for me, what I want to have happen in the future and going forward with characters is I would like them to really think about not when they design these characters, not so much how you are going to fight them. Because I think there's a big emphasis on these characters. Like when they're made, people initial thoughts are like, well, how can I beat them? Is it going to be too hard to fight them? You know, and that's to me, that's not that important. Like because there's so many characters in this game now that there's a way to beat almost everything. Like there really shouldn't be anything you come against that you can't beat because there's so many characters. So I put less importance on how difficult it is to fight them. What I worry about is how easy the game is because of them. Like how easy it is to, you know, clear the campaign trail, to do PvP matches, to do nightmare challenge, to do raids, you know, like, and my only solution to that would be if they come up with characters that are too hard, because again, I can't write a perfect kit and I don't expect them to write perfect kits, but to just be able to take a step back and go, hey, this character is, you know, too strong. Let's tweak them a little bit. And I don't want to hear these people complaining like, oh, I took him to RB5 right away. You shouldn't do that. No. You know, going in that characters can be tweaked. And I would like to see that. I would like to see tweaks to characters. You know, it doesn't have to be that month. It could be, you know, a month too later, like where hey, we've made a small tweak. Here's an update.
Microbalance.
Yeah, microbalancing, exactly. The other thing I would like to see would be new chapters. I'm really in the camp of, and I feel like I'm leading the charge in this camp of Necron's here, we're going to get new chapters. Trigon's here, we're going to get new chapters. And this is all leading up to potentially G12, maybe. Hopefully that's what I hope. I know a lot of people don't think they want it to happen. I'm okay with it happening because, again, I'm almost done in the game. Like I don't have anything more to do except just build up more characters. And so the idea of working towards something would be nice. Like, you know, level 90. That would be nice to just to have a road to walk down. And, you know, I miss the days when I would get that last bit of XP and that big glowing thing. You are now level whatever. And that's exciting. Little things like that make me want to play. The last final thing I would like to see and this is a big one. This is a big stretch and I'm not going to rant about it, is them to fix freaking Wraith mode and change the trophy system. I want the trophy system changed so bad. G10.5 players, go away. Okay.
All right, Zubaz, what's
I'll pick three things. One, I think microbalancing is definitely number one. I would absolutely love to see that. Just little tweaks on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. I would say two, you know, just speaking of the star system, I would like to see something different about the star system with revive characters. Mm-hmm. If, you know, just as a possibility, it's something that the community has asked for a very long time. And I think you've built something into the game that you then immediately say, like, this is lesser. So whenever they give you a revive kit, you're instantly telling them either you will never use part of this kit, or if you do use part of this kit, you're going to be punished for it. Mm-hmm. I think that's just like a silly way to design things. And, you know, when you've got Necron and Kyle last month and they don't have revive stuff in it, I think a lot of people were like almost glad about that because they're like, well, I hate when revive stuff comes out because then you can't use it. So I would like to see them do something with that. Third, and I don't know if it's third, it could have been first. This might be most important. I would like to see Costly win a World's Finest. I think that is just something we've all been looking for a very long time.
It would raise our prestige level a bit.
Yeah, we would be the only podcast to be able to say every single one of us has won a World's Finest in Siege. I get that we're not there yet, but I think it's coming this year. I think this is the year. So those are my top three
Top
things.
three, yeah.
We'll check in at the 6th anniversary. We'll see which of those came to fruition. What about you, Costly?
I mean, I can agree with everything Zubaz just said. I would also like to win a Siege World's Finest. One of the things I do want them to do going forward, I think they need to just bite the bullet and adjust some of these characters that are too overpowered. You're gonna piss people off. You could refund people their
no,
entire
don't refund them a single
no, but
thing.
what I'm saying is you could refund them their entire thing and they'll still complain. So it's like you're gonna get a complaint
you're right.
whether you give them everything back or nothing back. Now I do think like maybe they should do like, you know, hey, as an apology to the entire community, here's 10 rebirth crystals and 5,000 gems or something. You know what I mean? Like, and but you know that'd be nice. But you know. But I also am just fine with the fact that I don't have to worry about Spectre blowing up my team because I tickled somebody.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I hope they just bite the bullet and go forward with that. And then even further past that, designing characters in the future, exactly like what Josh was saying, just make them like work for the game. They don't have to blow up they don't have to be meta changing every time. They don't have to blow up everything. This game, the nuance in the game is so much more exciting than like, yes, there is excitement. Like when Spectre first got reworked, everybody was like, oh my gosh, he's so powerful and everything. And he sucked before. So it's cool. And then like literally a week later, I was like, this is bad, guys. And
I
then,
felt like I was taking crazy pills when Spectre came out and when I was complaining about him and everyone was like, yeah, but look what he does. I was like,
yeah. And everybody, and like slowly people have been jumping on that bandwagon.
Hashtag
just like,
Josh was right.
Okay, this is bad. This is bad. And
So I'll say this one thing about that on Reddit. If you go in there and you post like Spectre should be nerfed or something, you get downvoted into oblivion. Like the community, they love Spectre, and you cannot
know what
say
it is?
that
It's because he's allows lower powered players to be able to just do crazy things, and it's like
he's Deathstroke Lobo all over again.
It's bad.
But here's the thing: the other thing WB needs to learn from their past. Stop overcorrecting. Like they go so far over in the other direction when they go to correct on something they did wrong. Look at Deathstroke Lobo. Oh, revivers just don't work in PvP anymore. Like if you want to be able to progress. Okay, like that needs to be reverted. It's like, oh, Wonder Girl's a problem. Okay, you get people like Azrael and like all these other people that like can just blow her up immediately. And then it's like, but even before that, Clayface is a problem. Here's Wonder Girl. You buff it all, you get punished. Like, you know, and it's just like, stop overcorrecting. Like, make characters that can attack specific problems. And I get like Wonder Girl does attack the buff problem, but don't make it oppressive. You know what I mean? Like, make it to where like characters attack specific. And I think they're going better at that now with having characters do things like convert strength ups into strength downs, even through immunities and stuff like that, because now you're attacking the core of what the character is and not just overpowering a character to where they blow up the entire enemy team because you use one character. You know what I mean? And just design characters better, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
That's what I'm saying.
But and then what some of the stuff I want to see next year, I definitely want to see new chapters, right? I would like to see something new in the PvP space. Whether that's reworking Wraith, I would love to see Wraith reworked and we get basically showdowns as the regular Wraith and replace showdowns with something. Or something in that realm. But when we get new chapters, we're expecting like, you know, some of the, let's say like the first 2-3 years worth of champions will get injected into there for the heroic nodes. So then take whoever's left and take a pool of them and re-update red alerts. We need a fresh rotation of red alerts.
That's true. Very true.
That'd be nice. I know we got...
They've done that once, right?
They did it one time. Yeah, one time.
Like a year ago now, it feels.
No, it was more than a year ago they did that. It's red alerts has been the same, I'm going to say, longer than I've been streaming. It's been the same. It hasn't changed since I've been streaming.
No, it has. Remember, we talked about it, what they did good last year during Toonies.
And
one of the things
changed.
They did it last year. Yeah.
I don't believe it.
It's when they put Etrigan and
no.
Power Girl. They put Etrigan and Power Girl, and
it's true. I was actually just watching last year's Toonies as a prep for this year's Toonies, and that is one of the things that was mentioned.
Was it really?
I have never watched that episode.
Okay, that's what I was about to say.
But it is one of the things that was mentioned.
I don't think it was. I think it wasn't. I'm gonna.
I just got my Spotify Wrapped for the year, and it was like your top podcast, Crime Alley. You listened to it twice.
I'll make a bet with you here. I'm gonna say that the red alerts hasn't been changed since I started streaming, and some people have had 18-month anniversaries pop up. So I'm saying more than 18 months.
Okay, so here's the problem: is I'm going off of Toonies, right? There's a chance that it changed just before you started streaming in that same year. You know what I mean? So it's like, when did you start streaming?
In April.
So it could have happened in the beginning of that year. I'm not taking no bets. I'm not a betting man. I'm good.
I really, someone needs in the comments, if you're watching YouTube, comment to us and let us know when because I really think it's been
I would like to point out something here. I'm sure we'll talk about it more with the Toonies, but I think WB really loves this podcast.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the last 4 months, all right, if you look at the last 4 months, we got a Bat month containing one of my requested characters.
Okay.
And then we got a Wonder Woman month containing one of Josh's requested characters. And then we got a Lantern month requesting one of Du Bois. He's the guy that used to be on the podcast. One of his requested characters. And then now, you weren't here for the Toonies last year, but now we got an Aqua-month with one of your requested characters, Zubaz. So we I think WB really likes us, or it's just a really weird coincidence.
No, I mean, I think that they do. I think that they obviously listen to this, and I think that their comments throughout this podcast, there's two people that seemed a little negative about things, and then there was one guy that was super positive about everything and really happy.
It's all making sense now. It's all Zubaz is playing I see the game he's playing.
So we might do a list episode in between, because we've been telling everybody we're going to do a list episode because everybody liked that list episode that we did. We're like, yeah, we're going to stick them in between the podcasts, and then we're
actually going to do a list of list episodes. It's going to be top 5 list episodes that we did not make.
Yeah, something like that.
But so hopefully we can get a list episode in between now and the Toonies. But the Toonies itself is a list episode. Yeah. So.
I think that that's a full on, because things are gonna be put to a vote. We're gonna have everything there. Everyone can make their own opinions on things. I'm excited for it, and I am genuinely like, I'm gonna put some thought into who I kind of would like to see in the game, because you never know. I already have one toon in my head I think I would like to see in the game, but
that is the crazy thing. Along with those last 4 months being like our themes, because it's like, there are more than just those themes in DC. So it's like, there were other options for months, but it's like specifically, but if you guys haven't noticed, if you go back and listen to last year's Toonies, every character that was requested by me, Josh, and Du Bois is in the game now.
Yeah.
And I think my Yara floor request was I thought that was like a stretch, and it came through,
And so, but we are going to be doing Toonies this year, obviously. I don't know why we wouldn't, but it's going to be sometime in the last week of December. So it may even come out literally on like New Year's Eve. But
we're going to be doing a live New Year's Eve broadcast.
No, we're not. But yeah, so we're going to be doing. We're gonna make it even better than last year. We're gonna have a little more.
Well, don't put us to that. I mean, just relax.
We're gonna have more,
because I'm the one that's gonna have to do the graphics and everything.
WB is gonna put out a podcast of this is why the 2nd anniversary of the Toonies disappointed us. Don't hype it up. Don't hype it up.
Okay, I'll put it this way: we're gonna have more categories. Whether that makes
Even
a
then,
better
let's just
podcast or not.
Costly. The Toonies are coming. That's all the title says. Okay,
That's
Okay, so stay tuned in our streams and everything. We might be announcing more stuff about it as we slap it all together. Because we have different ideas that we're kicking around about possibly kind of making it bigger.
Apparently, right now.
I know, right? I've not heard of this.
There's an idea that we've been kicking around that we haven't decided on.
Boy.
So yeah, but that's going to be at the end of this month.
I am really looking forward.
Might even be our next episode.
I'm genuinely looking forward to it because I don't know. It
was the funnest thing we've ever done.
It's a lot of fun.
I mean, but yeah, so we're super excited about it. It'll be the second one ever because how long is the podcast? We're over a year now. Obviously,
yeah, over a year.
But
23 episodes.
We're 23 episodes. There you go.
We're gonna have to do a big one for 25.
Oh yeah. Well, wait, no. This next one will be 24.
Yes, that is correct.
But you're saying we're gonna have to do a big one for 25. Right. That's
we
that's a big milestone.
We could get a list episode out in between.
That's a milestone.
Will be our 25.
We could do 25 for the Toonies. We'll see.
Yeah,
we can get a list episode. But
we like to keep the fans guessing.
It's true.
You know what's crazy though? We didn't do nothing big for our 5th. For the 5th anniversary. I heard people were expecting new content and Gear 12 and stuff like that, and we didn't deliver on any of it. I don't even think the boy was there for that one.
I would also say, if you're listening right now and there's characters that you want, I could be bribed into saying that character for you. I mean, I'm not about, so hey, I'm ready.
Josh is going to come out with like 2 random characters you would never expect Josh to.
You know who I want in this game? A detachable arm guy.
TDK.
I think that's it though for us today. We covered a lot. I mean, you know what? I'll say though, less negative than I thought. I think Zubaz, you did a good job of
the voice of reason over here, trying to bring y'all back to the light.
But I still think our complaints were valid, and but it's again, I've said in my stream, I don't like to harp on the devs, but come on, man.
I will say the last
you want to end on.
I don't know if you guys noticed, I was laughing about when you guys were talking about the artwork. You guys were in the middle of talking, so I didn't want to interrupt. But you were talking about how good the art was on the new characters.
So great.
So the first month that the art got really good was September, which also happened to be the first month that the bugs really started ramping up. So did they fire some devs and hire some artists or what?
Wait, I'm looking here. Hey, I'm gonna look right now. I'm looking at real quick. Talk about artwork. I think.
Eradicator looked good. That was.
Bleeze looked good.
Yeah, there's a lot of good-looking characters this year.
I'm gonna say, you know what?
You know what that's going to be, Josh? That's going to be a hard time on the best design for this year.
I'm going to say the graphics really ramped up in May is when you really started seeing that was King Shazam and Batman Who Laughs, because I thought all the little intricate details, like Hawk and Dove, they were right before, they were solid, but nothing too intricate. But I did really like Dove's design. Dove's perfect. But everything else is things to me really pumped up right around May. But anyways, we'll talk Toonie stuff. That's Toonie talk,
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Alrighty.
Let's wrap it up here. Thank you guys for listening. We really appreciate it. And stay tuned for the Toonies. Is the boy gonna be here? I don't know.
We may have a special guest presenter.
Yeah.
Would he miss the Toonies?
I can't imagine. It's the biggest podcast of the year. I think the Toonies podcast will be the biggest podcast of all the podcasts of the year. That's the one. That's it. That's the big one. But
Soonies? Is that we say that, right? Toonies coming soon. Toonies coming soonies?
Toonies coming soonies. That's the catchphrase going.
I've heard that on the street.
I've heard it. Yeah, I've heard it as well. It's a thing. But all right, guys, that'll do it for us. Again, thanks for listening. We appreciate it. And see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for watching the Crime Alley cast. Hit the like button, give us your rave reviews in the comments, and be sure to subscribe and click the bell for updates on future episodes. If seeing our dashing faces makes you self-conscious about your own patchy facial hair, check out the audio-only version, available on Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Spotify, and Podbean. And don't forget to check us out live streaming DC Legends and other games throughout the week using the links below. See you next time, Gotham.